Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello everyone. Welcome to Atomic Mass Transmissions. Wait, that's a normal day. Welcome to Ministravaganza. It's day one, and thanks for joining in. It's going to be a lot of fun. We got so much stuff lined up for the whole weekend, not the whole weekend, till Saturday. Hopefully you just followed up watching one Mr. Wilshick do some painting on a Dinjarin. We're going to do some painting. We're going to switch it over and we're going to do the Red Skull. And this isn't your normal average core box Red Skull. We're painting up the new Master of Hydra Red Skull, who looks super dope, super cool, super excited. Are you on the mini cam? Sure. Kevin's on it. I'm going to turn on my light and we're just going to get fired right up. Let's do it. So I've already painted this feller once. As you can see, Red Skull. Looks like classic Red Skull. Bronze armor, silver Hydra logo, blue-black pants, blue-black cape, and some sweet blue lightning. So I thought for this one we're going to do something a little bit different. Kevin and I were sitting here just chatting, waiting for our turn, and came up with a color scheme. So I got all my paints out on my palette, except for one. Because of course. The sculpt is super sweet. It was a lot of fun making this. We got to sort of get in and design our own Red Skull on this one. Take some inspiration from a couple different places, but it is unique AMG design to kind of show that progression in the AMG Crisis Protocol story of our Red Skull. So we decided to give him some cool armor. We were imagining this like ancient armor passed down through Hydra, and of course Red Skull being Red Skull, he sort of added some forbidden tech or experimental tech to it. One of my faves of the new miniatures coming out from Fabulous Caribou. I wish it was Fabulous Caribou. Not to change your name or anything. I just want Fabulous Caribou. So I think the goal here, we're going to do silver over top of all the armor bits. We're not painting this for competition. We're just painting to get done and cool and on the table. The original Red Skull is good. Don't mind subdued sort of. Yeah, you need contrast in life. It's all about contrast. You know, sort of like cooking. Salt, fat, heat, acid. All those things create contrast in the mouth. Make things taste good. Same thing with miniatures. We like to create contrast. So we like to have designs that are sort of subdued, understated. You know, classic poses, but then, you know, you got to have something to kind of kick it up every now and then. You need a Malekith or a, you know, over the top Red Skull, blasting lightning, you know, it's comic books. So being able to explore different aspects of the character is always interesting. You know, I think the core box Red Skull is very cool for that. Like, he's so confident. He's got the cosmic cube. He's up to villainy. But this one is more, he has harnessed the power, some dark power, and he is just blasting some fool. Speaking of competition, that Odin statue for the worthy is super awesome. Love it. Yeah. Going to be exciting getting to Adepticon 2023 and bringing somebody the worthy, that statue, the Odin. Worked long and hard on that, designing it and getting that thing made, and hopefully finally we get to bring it to the masses and have a epic painting competition at a crisis protocol level and really bring in fantastic painters from all over the world, probably all over the world, to duke it out over the rights to hoist that trophy as much as you can. Hoist that trophy. That trophy is chunky, but hoist that trophy and take it home. But the philosophical part of the worthy is not just about winning that Odin trophy. It's the competition is designed. Now you got me talking about worthy, and I'm just going to go about that. If you don't know me, you're in for a ride because you got me talking about the painting competition. It's not just about the Odin and being the number one. We want to celebrate art of miniature. We want to celebrate the art of the Marvel Crisis Protocol world. But the fundamental way we built the competition of the worthy is based around individual progress and growth. So it's an open format judging style, which means each miniature, each entry will be judged against itself, basically. So we have gold, silver, and bronze medals that we will hand out to every miniature that deserves a gold, every miniature that deserves a silver, and every miniature that deserves a bronze will get that. We will look at each one based on their merits of creativity, technique, storytelling, and award gold, silvers, and bronze. And then if you get a gold, every gold in the category will get, that's when you get judged against somebody else. That's when we look at all the golds in the category and we go, okay, well, which gold stands out amongst all the golds? And one person in each category will win a Mjolnir trophy because they've progressed through that path of the worthy. And then each person that gets a Mjolnir will be judged against each other to win that Odin trophy. Card reveal? Oh no, card reveal. I don't do those. Separate. Will you do separate for stuff for dioramas? The categories, you can find it. Boy, I can't remember the categories. You can find the categories on Atomic Mass website. And if you joined in for the opening ceremonies, you know a new website's on its way. Kevin, can you go to the Atomic Mass website and look up the categories? I think it's single, dual, and group. And the diorama falls in the group, if I remember correctly. It's been so long since I've actually looked at that. And I want to see all that stuff. I want to see. Super excited to see what everybody brings to the worthy. We're going to go real thin on the red here. I'm going to mix a little bit of orange in that because I just want to up the value. We're just going to put a sweet glaze. Doesn't matter what this looks like yet. Oh, it's single, dual, and squad. And I think squad actually accommodates diorama. Well, it's not really diorama. There's not really a diorama category. Can you pop chat back up? Sorry. Can you pop chat back up? Now I'm remembering. It's been so long since I looked at the categories. It's single, dual, and squad. What? See what? How's that? I got a little hair right there. I can't see chat. I can't answer the questions. There we go. I'm no competition painter, but I'll put a little bit of work in piece to put up for judgment. Well, if you're not a competition painter, I do highly recommend still competing, because one of the best parts of a paint competition is getting feedback. And that's what we really want to do with the Worthy, is provide an opportunity for feedback to happen so you can advance in your painting path, right? Everybody's on the same, different points of the same path. So, and, you know, I want people to reach the level that they want to reach, the goals they want to reach. So maybe you want to be the best miniature painter in the world. Okay, well, let's talk about how to make it there. So the Worthy, you might come and you might put a submission in, and we take a look at it, right? And you get a bronze, maybe. Everybody gets a participation patch, by the way. Maybe you get a bronze, and then you can come up and you can talk to the judges, me and probably guest judges, and be like, okay, I got a bronze. Can we talk about that? And I'll be like, yes, absolutely. And I'll explain to you what needs to improve and why the bronze was what you received. And then hopefully the year after you can come back and maybe you get a silver, maybe you get another bronze because you worked on stuff but you didn't quite hit it. So it's all about personal growth. Don't treat it as the end-all be-all, I got to win this. Treat it as a path of personal growth and development, and you get so much more out of it. I love giving feedback and trying to help everybody reach their painting goals, right? Because that's what we're all doing. You know, when you join a hobby miniatures game, I mean, the name hobby is right there in the title. And you can go as deep as you want into the hobby. Maybe you're just like, I just want to be the best tabletop painter, but I want to be faster. Okay, enter the Worthy. Let's talk about what you did and maybe get you some tips to speed you up. You know, maybe you're just absolutely comfortable with where you're at. That's cool too. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody's got to choose for themselves. But the Worthy is set up to facilitate growth and development and help people achieve what they're setting out to achieve through guidance and feedback. Fairly admit I've gotten lazy with painting for a tabletop quality that looks pretty good at the local game night. That's great. But I got an extra Rogue and Gambit box, and I kind of want to do something a little better for my second attempt. That's great. I love that. That's a perfect use. I love taking a miniature and doing something on it, and then like being like, well, what can I do better next time? I have a very strict, I don't strip minis philosophy. I use old miniatures as like a watermark for my growth from my path, and I'm on a different part of my path than maybe you are. You might be further along or a little bit behind, and that's okay. We're still on the same path together, and we're here to help each other. But I like taking the miniature that I painted maybe 20 or 30 years ago and being like, okay, what could I do now, right? And repainting it and then comparing them next to each other. I think that's super fun. And that's what the Worthies literally set up to do, is like help you grow. I'm just going to frame every conversation this weekend about the Worthy. Y'all cracked the seal. Sorry. Let's get a little water on that brush. This is like green and blue mixed together. We're just sort of like shading our metals a little bit. I know right at the end there, Schick was talking about metallosity. My favorite word. You can go back and check out some Ministravaganza videos from the past about metallosity, where I did whole like 2 hours, I think, on metallosity and how to achieve like super cool looking metal effects on your miniatures. Ding, ding, ding. But this little bit of blue, green, we're going to do something just way different on this red skull than the normal studio one. I can't begin to explain how much I love that MCP comes with textured bases. Yeah, that's awesome. They're super helpful. I still consider them all blank bases because you can do whatever you want with them. Speaking of old Ministravaganza streams, there's one called Tactical Rocks, and I go over changing up the standard base by just adding some rocks and texture and stuff like that. You can get a different effect. You can make space style bases because you just cover right over it. Like, to a hobbyist, everything is blank. You just throw a little pumice right over that, you're done. Dunzos. Let's go dark blue for the boots, and these will be blackened. I just need that blue undertone to our black to give our black some life. What I like to call chromatic blacks. Just means black with color in it. It's what makes black unique and different. Throw a little color in there. Sort of like if you paint something with like lots of different elements and they're all black, by changing that undertone you can make them all stand out and be unique. Okay, what should be dry? Let's do a little red down in that neck because we sort of missed that. Got a little red on that. Still a little red on the skull. We're going to glaze that on and just slowly start turning this to metallic red. I love this armor. We went through a couple different designs on this armor. And then we had hired an actual concept artist to flesh out the ideas. Nate Fama, and he just did a fantastic job bringing some doodles to life. And then, of course, we gave those to Josh, and Josh got character card art done based on it as well. Just a unique, different sort of red skull. We're just gonna glaze blend that really fast, and then there's an edge there. Gonna get rid of that. Don't let those bathtub rings pull up. Just using that second brush to guide the paint to where it wants to be. A little backwards blend here. It's a little trickier to learn because the paint doesn't really want to go that direction. Let's get in there that collar. Let's get the sleeve. Got a little paint on that lightning bolt, but that's okay. We're just going to block that lightning bolt out here in a little bit. Hopefully, we'll see how far we get. Am I going fast or am I going slow? What do you think, Kevin?
Pretty fast so far.
Fast so far. Can never tell. Like sometimes I feel like I'm going really slow, and it's like I'm like, oh man, I'm almost done. I'm running out of stuff to do, and it's like, oh, hour's up. Yes, nailed it. You can paint this in sub-assemblies. Some people might find that easier. I'm a monster. I'm like, eh. My brush can't reach it. You can't see it. Darken that. Because that shadow will cast down. Start building in more shadow on the jacket. Maybe we'll put some freehand on there if we got time on that jacket. It's my favorite part of Ministravaganza. Is just like, do something fun. Great. Let's get crazy. I think that needs to be darker still. It's too poppy, right? This is the new Red Skull miniature Magic Moose Moo. Show us the card so we can see the art. Tricky, but it doesn't work on me. I don't have control of that. I can show his cool backpack that's not painted. It's all messy. I think we just keep darkening this slowly. It's like brown and blue mixed together. It's always good colors. No, this is a completely different character. He's got an all new card. He's got all new stats. He does all new stuff. This is not the same Red Skull just resculpted. This is an all new Red Skull doing all new nefarious deeds. I'm going to punch a little more blue in there because I really like the way that when that blue blends out across that green, it looks really, really sharp. Especially when we start bringing this armor together. I think it's really going to tie it up. Like I said, Kevin and I were talking about it before stream and just kind of came up with this idea of the green cloth and this blue-green armor instead of the bronze. Just something a little different, a little funky. Red Skull gets an awesome glow up. That feels better. All right, I think we need some black, which I didn't get on my palette. Great. That's not good. Tiny drop of black. Mix it in with that other stuff. We're going to darken that armor. Just let some of that silver shine through. Like I said, Shik was talking about metalosity right before the end of his last stream. We want to blot out some of, in the shadows, metal loses its metallosity. It stops being that shiny. So we want those blacks and blues to slowly build up and start removing the shine from the shadows. And then when we're all done, we're going to go back and dull coat everything. And then we're going to re-punch the sharpest little poppy highlights with pure silver. And that's going to make it really stand out and be incredibly metallic looking. I just keep sharpening my brush. Just working my way around that armor. Shik's palette has everything. My palette before the start of the day had everything on it. I started with a new palette, and we'll see if I actually change palette at all this weekend. Who knows what my palette paper is going to look like by the end of this. See how we're starting to define all that? I'm going to draw a line around the skull in black. I'm going to shadow the black with, or the red with blues. Corndog McGraw up in the chat. Sup. Oh, that's a lovely blend. Like, I'm not trying to do perfect blends. I know, I saw that face. Sometimes you just do a good blend, even when you're speed painting. So I'm just kind of controlling the wash there. I'm blocking in those deep shadows and then dragging it out with that second brush to kind of control the wash. You know, I don't want it everywhere, but I want it where I want it. Let's go like this, up and over. I like how it looks a little dingy right now. We're going to get rid of some of that once we start popping the highlights. Bruja, Prince of the City. Love that name. Thanks. We think it's a cool mini too. Have we shown his friends? I don't know. I can't remember what we've shown. We shown these?
Yeah.
Okay. Ah, I love his gauntlets. I think the first iteration of him, his gauntlets were way bigger. I think it was the first one. They were like big, chunky, like heavy sort of gauntlets. They were pretty cool. And then they just kind of got designed back a little bit because it felt better. Red School. What's the question? What's the question that you've asked many times? She's got little friends. Get 'em, boys. Blackwash. Go right over that blue that was on the boots. Don't care if I touch the lightning bolt. It's going to be painted again later. It's so dingy. Right up under there. Let's go from this side. You can't see it. Sorry. Sorry. Touch the greens. Pull that off just a little bit. I think the belt needs to be black too. Hydrate. What's the one you would most want to paint? No spoilers from Marvel who isn't out now. I think you're tricking me. That technically falls into, we're unable to talk about unreleased things. Wish listing and speculations. I mean, I'm a Marvel fan. I've been collecting comics since '89 ish, and I got a giant collection of X-Men comics, and to be frank and honest, which was the name of a neighbor I once had, Frank Honest. There's no Marvel character I don't want to make and paint, because every character is someone's favorite, and that's very important to me. So I want everybody. Let's do another glazer red on that silver skull, because that'll be interesting. Let's do another glazer red on his skull, because that is the most interesting part. We're just going to start slowly building up our reds here. to probably paint some orange and yellow and then glaze again to really build that up. Fault Zivix, I don't know how to pronounce that. Wants to paint Deadpool, just doesn't have him yet. You should get Deadpool, he's so much fun to paint. So we're not have to do that now, but don't want to paint that. Do not want to paint that belt buckle red. That would be weird having 3 reds in a row. Yes. Yes. So let's do some black and blue and white. Use just the edge of the brush, just the tip at an angle. Put some kind of broad highlights on the black areas. Just let that brush just whisper. You can even make it look a little more worn by doing some little tiny scritches, little texture. Maybe the top of his boot where he's put it on one too many times. It's time for a Red Skull go boot shopping maybe. Just start popping highlights. We're going to do the same thing with green. I'm not even changing the brush, I'm just grabbing some green. Jezza is literally painting Deadpool's taco truck as they watch. Oh, those large panels on vehicles, I don't shade or highlight those. Typically, I just sort of let them lie flat. There's lots of different ways to approach vehicles. I go for the easy way. Like you can put some highlighting, shadowing on there, but you don't need big, broad shadows and highlights on vehicles. You can kind of let them live a bit more minimal. And they still look really, really good. Focus on like colors. So like having like some hidden colors here and there on panels, just glazed on, really brings vehicles to life. Just some highlights here and there. Textury little highlights. I like my little scritches and dots. Maybe do some draggy lines down toward the bottom. Make it feel a little heavier threaded. Oh, this is an outside coat, you know. How heavy do you think this coat is in real life? 10 pounds? 10 or 12 pounds, yeah. Yes! Yeah, airbrush helps a lot with vehicles, or multiple thin coats. Don't try to do it all in one go. You'll never hit it. Multiple thin coats. Do a coat, let it dry. Do a coat, let it dry. Hair dryer helps out a lot with that process. I'm a big fan of the hair dryer. There's no time to wait, so bust out that hair dryer and get those coats dry so you can get on to the next one. Nothing worse than seeing a friend be like, "What are you doing?" They're like, "I'm painting," and they got a wash sitting there on a miniature and they're just playing a video game. So it's like, you're not painting. You're. I don't mind that you're not painting, but don't tell me you're painting when you're just waiting for a wash to dry. Get a blow dryer. Okay, we're going to start popping highlights, bringing back some of that definition that we lost in our sloppy washes. Put bright highlights down dark shadows, makes it look really cool. It's one of the types of contrast, light, dark. There are many types of contrast, that's just one of them. We're just redefining these tentacles. The top edge of that collar. Just little pops here and there. What do we got here? Metal plate. Oh, the metal plate. Yeah. Can you imagine this armor being made like? I always imagine when we were designing this, like this armor was designed and like made in like, I don't know, like the 1200s or something, right? It's just been passed down for generations of Hydra leaders and stuff, and he's just like, I'm adding tech to it. And there's some traditionalist in the ranks is just like, he's ruining it. He's just like, no, this is science. I'm updating it. Look how much cooler it is. It's got electricity. It's powered by mad science. They're like, your fathers would be so upset. They saw what you did to the traditional Hydra armor. And Red Skull would say something like, my fathers have failed where I shall succeed. That sounds very Red Skull, right?
Yeah, I think you went ahead. It's true. Didn't know if you were writing an entire comic on screen.
Why not?
It's a good point.
We tell our stories. The fun of miniature games. Tell your story. Just tidying up all that metal. Just looks better. Blue on the face, blue on the face. Color shift metallics. Yeah, those are fun. Will there be a paint stream this weekend for Lord Malekith? I don't believe so, but there's definitely, probably, most likely, a plan for Mr. Malekith because it's just too good of a miniature to just ignore. Alright, we're going to start shading the face. I think I went a little too dark on my first shade, but it'll be fine. Just start. Just get in there. Clean it up as we go. I'm going to do under the eyebrow ridge. Like that. You want that ocular socket super dark because we're going to put little punchy eyes in there and they're going to read better. Once again, that light on black contrast or light on dark contrast just helps stuff read very, very well. Let's frame his teeth. I'm going to go with the more sinister-y looking Red Skull mouth where like his teeth are super prominent. It's not always how he's done. It's how I want mine done though. And this is my miniature. 10 minutes? Oh my gosh. What brushes and size do I use for eyes? I'm using whatever. I'm using a 3 right now, and a probably 3. So I'm using 2 3s. Because I kind of just grab any. I'm so bad at this question, Kevin. It's not about the size. It's about the point and just finding a brush you're comfortable with. I typically paint with a 2 and a 3 for everything and just have just a brush with a really good point is all that matters. I'm going to make a mess of my coif here, which I can tidy up later. So I kind of just paint with whatever I grab. I don't even usually look. As long as it's got a good point on the brush and a good belly. I like a really good heavy bellied brush. That's what I look for. How did you make the Golden Gate Bridge in the background of the Hydra preview? Your studio always has the coolest thematic terrain. It makes me jealous. That's a great question. That was actually I actually had that commissioned and handmade by a person who makes terrain. One Mr. Rob Hawkins, great guy, amazing terrain maker. We have several people we work with who, we sort of get an idea and we come up with like a quick design and then we send it off and they hand make that stuff. Super impressive, super cool. That's a scratch built custom for Atomic Mass Games for Marvel Crisis Protocol table. It's made almost entirely out of like insulation foam, like the pink or purple insulation foams. So you can do research and learn how to do all that kind of stuff. I mean, once again, we are a hobby miniatures game, and hobby means lots of things, including building terrain. So you should, if you're interested, go check out some videos and stuff on how to build terrain. It's super interesting. It's a lot of fun. It's a very rewarding part of the hobby. So I kind of overdid that line. I want to pull that back just a touch. 10 minutes. I'm so close to done, except for the lightning. It's a travesty. We're going to punch that up more orange. I want to just add tons and tons of yellow, a touch of white. Just do little dots. Those are pretty highlighty. because I think we'll tone down with a little red glaze as we go. Let's do the eye that color too. The big trick is painting eyes. We're talking about eyes. Are you ready? Are we ready? We're going to take a breath. We're going to line up our shot. I'm going to check on my hand the consistency of my paint and the way the paint is flowing off. I don't like it. 5 minutes. So this is called sharpening the brush. I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to exhale. When I exhale, I'm going to take the... You can also test, move your hand above the miniature a couple times to kind of get your muscle memory going. Make sure it paint's wet. And breathe out, take the shot. Now need to be popped with a higher color. We can just keep adding whites. Big trick is don't hold your breath. And if you mess up like I did, you can go back and clean that up. I've painted studio miniatures I've messed up. Just totally boffed a paint job before. You just go back and you fix it. So it's part of painting. Painting miniatures is a fine art of correcting one's mistakes. It's kind of like life. A lot of lessons in life found in painting miniatures. Do not hold your breath. If you hold your breath, it's kind of like creating stress in your body, right? Your body kind of wants to breathe, weirdly. I know, right? So holding your breath causes stress. So I don't recommend holding your breath. You want to breathe. You want to breathe out slowly. Let the brush do its little job. And with practice, you can talk and do it too. Or sometimes you have to stop talking, but you know. Pulse intensifies. Yeah, everything intensifies. Your body stresses out. It does not like holding its breath at all. You want to breathe. So take a nice big breath. Breathe out. Lay the paint on. And then go back and fix it if you mess it up. It's okay. No one's mad. Let's bring some of that silver into the highlight, back into the highlights of our skull.
Yeah,
2 minutes. We're going to wrap it up. Do we know what's next? Do we have a schedule up? Battle of Yavin and Beyond. So you should check that out. I believe that's Plumber and Schick, or Plumber and Simone. I can't remember. That's going to be Schick, Plumber, Pagani, and Simone. Oh, that's a big party. So you should go check that out. Here in a few moments, I'll be wrapping up, and that stream will start right up. In what? 1 minute? 1 minute. 1 minute. What can I do in 1 minute? Not much. I think it looks pretty good for an hour. I think it's a nice contrast to this guy. Totally different. Totally unique. Totally cool. Are we done? They're going to put me on there. All right. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to slide that like that. All right, so that's painting up the Red Skull. Hopefully you learned something interesting, cool, new, and fun to get you started when your Red Skull comes out, or any miniature that comes along. You can apply any sort of the philosophies and techniques we did today on those. And get ready, coming up to Yavin and Beyond.